Hello everybody, welcome back to the Jeep Journals. It is Monday, August the 1st, and
now turn left.
I will be sharing this video on the first Monday of September. Today I weigh 118.6 kilos, which is quite a bit for me. It's at least 30 pounds
Drive 3.5
over what I intend to weigh as I regain my health. For a long period of time, I've basically done everything I could to quote unquote fit in to the equation where people who I would typically interact with in the past would interact with me. Now, that's not to say that I've failed, but I sure haven't succeeded in terms of helping other people to recalibrate what it is that they're doing in order to regain their own health. And that's probably because I haven't set the best example myself. So a lot of the things that led up to these circumstances included situations where I asked for people to give me the time that I needed in order to address some things that were going on in my own life. When I did that, suddenly there was an outpouring of requests for assistance, and in many cases the assistance had nothing to do with anything that I was in charge of. So people were asking me for help with things that they needed help with. I even mentioned that if I was going to be doing those things, that it should be considered work, and that I should be paid for those things that I was doing. In pretty much all of those cases, my time wasn't valued, and even when I asked for the time to be apart from the connections that there were, that wasn't honored. And so for that reason, basically, I've decided to once again, this particular month, go without. And I'm going to be going without contact for the month of August with pretty much anyone who is not paying in the form of either attention. You know who you are if you're not paying attention. If you're not paying attention, quite often you're making mistakes. And those mistakes are costing time. Time in the form of conversations. Time is money. Money is energy. Energy is health. Health is wealth. So if you're confusing all of those things, this is your chance to get things on track by watching for this month every day the posts that are being shared. That way you can see. And you can even look back just a little bit further on this particular channel at the videos that were shared not too long ago. And you can see what my overall physical health was. You can see it, and you're going to see a transformation. And this is just day one, but it sure beats being one day. One day I'm going to get in shape. One day I'm going to be able to do something or another. One day I'd like to do this, that, or the other. Instead of one day, change that attitude to day one. On day one, from the very beginning, I've already succeeded. I've succeeded in the fact that I'm not going and practicing the typical traditional ritualistic practices of going and consuming some kind of a breakfast. What am I going to break my fast with? Is it going to be something that adds to the bottom line that I need to be addressing?
In half a mile, then
or
left.
Can I go without? Less is more. So today I'm going to be walking at my favorite walking area here in San Antonio. It's called Friedrich Wilderness Area, and lately there has been a diminished amount of wildlife in this park. So on this channel, you've noticed that I've talked a lot about wellness and conservation. They go hand in hand. If I'm not able to take care of myself, then I'm not able to take care of the things around me that I'm entrusted to, that I'm the steward of. And so if I'm unable to do that, then basically I become a drain or a delay on the situation. The last thing I want to do is add to someone's work volume. So I'm going to do my best every time to pay attention to what's being asked of me. If someone's asking me something and I'm not paying attention,
1.8 miles.
it's possible that I may not be able to answer the question that's being presented to me. Now, in contrast, if I'm asking a question to somebody and I'm not paying attention, then I may not hear the answer that's being given to me in terms of what it is that's supposed to be accomplished. Recently, I had a situation where someone messaged me about something that they had coming due for a service renewal. Over and over, I tried to advise this entity that I'm not in charge of that. I can give you some advice, and my advice was that the message clearly outlined that their renewal would be taken care of automatically on a specific date. So really nothing had to be done in order for that renewal to occur. Many different conversations arose out of that situation, which took up weeks of time, because the conversation went back and forth to the point where I was advising them and they were saying that my answers were not clear. They weren't concise. Even when I explained the situation to other people, there were probably 50-50 there was a split in terms of who thought what. Some people thought my answers were too long for the response that I was giving to this person in order of what they should do. And some people thought my answers were just right, that I was clarifying everything properly. But in all cases, many people didn't have time to pay attention. When you pay attention. The thing is, I wasn't being paid for any of this, so I wasn't being paid attention to. Now, that renewal service was critical to the business that was being run by
Turn left in half a mile.
By an entity who was using that renewal as a business-related advertisement. That was their calling card. If they did not renew their subscription, they would no longer have a calling card that you could go to online. Now, this isn't really a major issue, except for that's an established company, and if they lose their website, that's kind of a mark. I want to call it a black eye. That's a black eye on the business, because imagine that you have a website and everyone knows it, and you're a high caliber business, and for some reason you lose your website. Let's say that I lost my website and then someone re-registered it, and you were expecting to see me when you went to my website. You're expecting to see my crazy stories about nature, about nurturing, about health being wealth, and instead it was a takeover. It was a takeover by someone who bought my site and used it for other purposes, whether it was nefarious or wholesome or whatever. And so just imagine that you were to go somewhere, like let's say I was coming to this place expecting to find a place to walk, and instead it was a place of conflict. Speaking of conflict, my mobile device is kind of in the way of the backup screen here, so I apologize for hesitating while I'm speaking with you. I just don't want to have a low speed backing incident in a parking lot, where thankfully this has not become a situation that is different from what I expected. In other words, this is still a wilderness area where we can still go out and enjoy nature, go for a walk and enjoy the day. And I'm still bringing you I'm still going to be bringing you the content that we see here, which sometimes there is an abundance of wildlife and sometimes there's not. I heard a bird chirping outside. I'm parked. I'm out of the traffic. I was able to multitask this situation where I'm able to say what the purpose of this journey is, which is wellness and conservation. And hopefully you were able to understand that the reason I'm bringing you this focused content, especially right now, is because of the situations that are being experienced globally. Globally, we're having crises that we're attempting to figure out how to resolve, but many of us aren't looking internally to resolve our own conflicts. Many of us are looking for external assistance, even in the events where we are running our own show. If you're running your own show and it's a well-established business and you've got a renewal coming due and you're asking somebody over and over to do the work, to do the legwork for trying to figure out how it is that you need to manage your own business, well, you can almost expect that your attempts are going to fail, especially if the other person is not attentive to what it is that you're trying to accomplish. If that person's attentive to what you're trying to accomplish, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and to contribute monetarily to the work that's being done. If you don't feel like replenishing that person's energy for the energy and time that you've consumed, then you're basically performing what is an old school, low grade version of slavery, because you're not paying for what was rightfully sourced. You're not paying for what was done. And in a lot of cases, we are not paying the price that it took to accomplish what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So here I am. I have a varied work schedule. And so during the work week right now, while most people are basically going to and fro to get to their offices, to have these conversations of work-related aspects, I'm able to go and put in my time at the gym. And the gym, for me, is getting out into nature. Nature is nurture. In some cases, as I've been saying in the past, and you can look at all the back catalog if you'd like to, nature also needs to be nurtured because we have taken advantage of nature to the point where nature is in dire need of a cleanup and also some rain. So if anyone out there is able to pray for a reasonable amount of rainfall, please do so. If anyone out there has celebrations where they're able to make those wishes, please don't forget to ask for something for everyone, not just for ourselves. Look at how the sun is starting to shine. It's beautiful. It's going to be a hot day. It's going to be just under 100 degrees. When I checked the forecast over the next 10 days, it looks like the extended forecast shows that for the latter part of the upcoming 10 days, we're going to be just under 100 degrees finally, instead of 105, 104, 106, 103. However, the chances of rainfall are still almost non-existent. So maybe with the help of everyone contributing to the thoughts of wellness for everybody and conservation for everybody, maybe with those thoughts will also come the actions that it takes, even in a small scale, to finally stop subscribing to those things where we keep receiving all of this printed material with staples that are supposedly recyclable. All of these things are supposedly recyclable. However, it's just more stuff. It's more of an accumulation of stuff when really what we need is less stuff. For all of you who get what I'm saying and who are on board, I hope that you click on subscribe. I hope that you're going to your own social medias and sharing. Don't forget, if you're watching this on your mobile device, you can share this this very video with other people on other mobile devices. You can go down to the description, click on the share option, copy the link, share it to a friend. Sharing is caring. And once again, if we're paying attention, then chances are we're going to be paying in the form of either a monetary contribution, or we're going to be using our energy and putting our energy out there to share with the person that's speaking with us. And I say with. This is a multi-direction conversation. You can click on the comments area down below and add comments. You can suggest what it is that you're seeing in your neck of the woods. You can interact. Many times I've been left in the cold where people will not interact with me for some odd reason. At a certain level, when we get to spirituality, or if people have to look back and try to criticize based on whether they're seeing snakes, or whether they're seeing some kind of a rock and roll band's image, or whether they're seeing some kind of imagery like Eddie up here, who is indicating that we need to vote, whether we're seeing people with the I voted stickers, whether we're seeing people with whatever, there's a judgment. And in a lot of cases, when we judge, we become bitter, because it's really just a comparison. When we're judging other people, we're comparing. And a lot of people want to compare if we're better than other people. Nobody is above anyone else except for the Creator who created all of us. And how you define the Creator is really whether or not you accept the possibility that there was a Creator to begin with. Even if it was your very own parents who are who are theoretically your Creator. If you don't have any regard for where you came from, and you're just consuming idly, consuming without thinking about what you're doing, let me tell you, it's extremely easy to fall into a pitfall of addiction. Addiction is no laughing matter. I've got a direct relative who burned down the house that was given to him, and that house was supposed to be generational wealth that was handed down in a specific and considerable, in a courteous manner. It was supposed to be handed down. It was intended to be handed down in a specific way based on the wishes of the deceased. And for some reason, some number of family members decided to go against what was instructed by their own parents, by their fathers. Now, I'm not saying that plans can't change and things can't happen and evolve. What I'm saying is, in some cases, it seems like we're going against the wishes of our fathers. A lot of people ask me, what do you mean when you say our fathers? What do you mean our fathers? Our fathers. Is that a religious thing, or is that because of your parents? Is that because of... You take it how you want to take it. You need to make those decisions on your own if you're going to be judging, or if you're going to understand that across the board, some language means the same thing. If I smile and give you a warm embrace and hug you and welcome you with open arms, that's a universal thing. When you hear the music and the emotion that I put into the songs that have been played on this channel in the past, some of those things are universal. You don't need to speak the same language to see what it is that I'm trying to show. When you see the damage that's happening in nature, you don't have to pretend that you understand it one way and then act a different way when you talk to other people later. You can see that the conversation you're having with someone else happens to be targeted, happens to be so that we're talking about the same things. You can see that when I talk about health is wealth, you can see that I'm talking about juicy fruit. You can see that I'm talking about energy that's revitalizing. You can see that this comes with less packaging. And once I start to express that level of health, then you'll also see that I come with less packaging. Instead of weighing 118.6 kilos, which is about 256 pounds, which is about 30 pounds more than what I need to be, once you see that I lose that excess packaging, you'll see that I become more efficient overall. This is something that I've demonstrated on this channel in the past, where I've talked about the 7-day vegan challenge because this other smart cat up the road talked about this, and I heard it. It resonated with me. In that instant, as I started to transform myself and evolve, I noticed, and the power just went out. That's why I closed the sunshade, so that I didn't have to turn the car back on to close the sunshade. So planes flying over, we've got people conducting business on our behalf so that we can get the things done that we're not able to get done in person on our own. We've got help. We've got help all around the globe. We only need to stop addressing one another as enemies. Once we start to see past the illusion, we'll start to recognize that we're one another's solution. So until next time, just stay tuned until the end. I'll probably put a compilation together. You've seen this. Now you're about to, if I haven't shown it throughout this video, now you're about to see what I saw on the trails today. Enjoy the journey. Take some time. While you're watching this, understand that you can watch this on a large screen format. You can watch this on a smart TV in 4K on a giant screen so that you can enjoy these beautiful smiles, the beautiful images, and the beautiful thoughts that I'm bringing to you. Until next time, peace, love, and all that old school stuff.